Okay.
Good.
Yep, we are live.
We'll call this meeting to order. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, folks. Adjustments to the agenda. Anyone have any? I do, if you don't. Under Madomic capacity study, we're gonna postpone that. I would like to do that when Admin's here with the Shellfish. He can help have the Shellfish Committee here as well. In place of that, we'd like to have the EMS chief would like to do a little presentation during presentation time. Not yet. And then under old business, 11.1, we're gonna scratch that EDC sign update. We don't have an update to bring tonight. And after the select board meeting, we will adjourn and go into an assessors meeting with the town assessor. Anything else? Huh? Now, chief, your presentation.
I don't need much of your time. Been talking with Julie about the plan to move our old ambulance along. It's been sitting up at Public Works since our new one went to service July 1. It's a 2015 Chevy van. It's got the chassis has 225,000 miles on it. It's a remount, so in terms of it being used to transport patients for any service, it's really kind of beyond its useful life for that. The box has been used now twice around for that sort of thing. And so we list it in our normal places, gov deals, municipal bid, that type of stuff. Not really a lot of bites on it. I've talked to the dealer that sold us our last truck that replaced this one, and then the dealer before that, and neither one of them had any interest whatsoever. Said kind of the same thing that we said, it would kind of be a money pit. It does have a laundry list of issues on the mechanical side that will need attention for anybody who intends on even driving it down the road. They could drive it today, but it will need more work. So long story made short, Midcoast School of Technology came and took a look at it today. You know, sometimes these training centers will buy older ambulances and just fix them up enough so that their students can practice on them and that sort of thing. And the gentleman's name is Rick Johnson. He's the head of the fire and EMS program, but allows that maybe even the engine mechanical shop side would have interested in training on it and replacing some of those parts and replacing so they can get it functional. So they have interest in it. He's going to take it back to he came and looked at it today, went over it, said, yeah, I'm interested. He's going to go back to his boss, discuss the mechanical issues that we have talked about, and then just get permission to go ahead and purchase it. We didn't really have a real number in mind, but Julie and I have both talked about $1,500. That's really kind of unfortunately where it would be at. That's kind of where our offers have come in, and we would rather it go, if it's okay with you guys, to somebody that could use it to train our next generation of EMTs and maybe some mechanical students and stuff at Midcoast.
There was one significant issue, which was a DEF issue,
Oh,
because it's a diesel.
And actually, that one issue is the last of many sections of that we replaced over the years. Towards the end, we quite literally were limping it along until the new one got here, so we didn't want to dump a ton of money into it. Basically, between the town mechanics and myself, we said, let's just make sure it's safe and efficient, and we'll pass inspection until our new one gets here. And so now, but to your point about the DEF system, we've replaced basically everything on that system. We did it with our last one.
And we were very honest about what needed to be replaced, even when we were selling it on Gov Deals, which is probably why we didn't get very
Yeah.
high offers, because whoever fixes it, they're gonna have to put a lot of time, effort, and money into it. Well, time and effort. And the cost of parts, which at a VOTech school,
Yes.
it would be great for them, the mechanics, to learn how to work on it, and then the plus of.
Yeah, and it certainly wouldn't be something that even if we were looking at, because we've been back and forth over the years about maybe a spare or adding our fourth truck back, and that truck just wouldn't be the one to do it with. Where it's had the box on it on two different chassis, it's just the box will start to wear eventually. So it will serve them well if you guys are in favor of taking that offer when it officially comes to us. We just want to come tonight and make sure that was,
I'll make a motion to give it to the Mid-Coast, to sell it to the Mid-Coast school at a price to be negotiated by the town manager.
Any
I'll
second?
second that.
Any discussion on it?
Yeah, just a question. Did you say the DEF system was replaced?
so the DEF system, and if Tim was here, the town mechanic, he could really get into depth with it, and we'd be here
A
all night.
long time.
So,
Okay.
what I will tell you is the DEF system, from the EMS chief standpoint, is a multifaceted system with a lot of different parts, tanks, sensors, regulators. And over the course of its life, when we were still actively using it, we replaced a lot of parts early on. And then this last sort of piece of the puzzle, is a sensor, that senses temperature. And the problem with the DEF system is it puts the truck in limp mode. So if something acts up in that system anywhere, after a certain time, the truck goes in limp mode and comes home from Maine Med at 42.5 miles an hour. So,
The reason why I asked about that was because US EPA
Yeah.
relaxed its DEF regulations. And I think you can actually strip the DEF system from the truck.
I don't think we have the exemption.
delete.
Yeah.
Still can't delete.
Can't
so-
delete.
Still can't.
So the military, I believe, has a
Yeah.
exemption
Yeah.
and unfortunately it has not been extended to, trust me, we've looked into it because,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's the DEF level temperature sensor, suspected center bearing, replace parking brake shoes, front A arm bushings. And fuel seep around fuel tank sending unit.
So
that'll work.
it's a costly.
It's great
yeah.
work for students.
students.
But yeah, we replaced a lot of parts in that system over the course of the last 3 or 4 years, and same thing with its twin just before that. Hopefully, we don't run into similar problems with our Fords. The technology is reportedly a little better in the newer trucks, but we'll see.
If someone deals with DEF on a daily basis, they just tear up the engine.
Oh, they're bad. Yeah.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Thank you.
Public hearing, we have none. Citizen comments or something that's not on the agenda. Citizen comments? Ben?
If you can come up here, because we're getting feedback off our videos that if people aren't up here, we can't hear them.
Ben Vale, Philbrook Lane. First of all, I'll start positive and thank Ruben and anybody else who contributed to us having an option for internet.
I'm glad it's working.
Yeah, no, it's just a pleasure to be able to have options and we've taken advantage of that. So thank you, everybody who did that. Got some questions. First of all, I'll start with a vacant lot. I was in on that process of that place becoming set for senior housing, but I've forgotten, was there a end date for when VOA, was there any kind of, I know if they didn't use it, it would come back to the town. Is there any end date for that or is it open-ended?
I want to be accurate when I answer that. I will have to look that up.
Okay.
I used to know that
Yeah, well,
years ago.
it's not right at the tip of everyone's tongue anymore, but given our current situation and the dependence on federal funds, I don't see anything being built there for a while. So I would encourage us to find out, and if there isn't one, put one on it. Because I think that someone make use of that if they're not going to use it. And I think, speaking for the neighborhood, I don't think I'm the only one who would like to see something there besides weeds. Now, question, are we out of paving season?
No, they're starting Monday.
Great. We don't even have to.
It
name the-
wasn't our
We don't
fault.
even have to name the road.
It wasn't
Yeah.
our fault, no,
Roads,
roads. It wasn't our fault. We were ready to go. They were not.
Great, well. I
And
look forward to that.
I should say, Monday, and they will pave as long as the temperature is within the parameters. If it's not, we will not let them pave, obviously.
Obviously, yeah, so.
But,
it's-
and just so
no-
you know, Mill is going to be totally reclaimed.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
taking it all the way down.
You and I talked about that in the summer, so I just was afraid we'd missed it.
We definitely have been, it's been a weekly conversation with the paver.
I will cross my fingers for warm temperatures.
Some of it hasn't been kind.
Okay, great, well, that's all I need, thank you very much.
any other comments? Select board comments? Ruben?
Sir. All right.
Nothing? I'll just speak, just a couple quick things. I attended the downtown forum, which was 2 Thursdays ago.
Mhm.
Great, great input. Julie's gonna talk a little bit more on that when she speaks. We had some good input from the people that were there. I really like the fact that Kate, our new planner, and Mike Amico kind of worked together and kind of forced us in the room to break off in groups and have little guided discussions, and it was actually pretty good. And also, I want to kudos to the crew that put together the talent show on Saturday night at the Waldo. It was a sold out show, and those that didn't attend, make sure you watch it on YouTube and see it again next year. It was kind of a fun event for the evening. That's all I have.
So I'll start with the downtown forum. Kate our new planner, did an awesome job of making sure everybody did talk. A little bit different. We had it at the Open House of History. So it was a little bit more of a welcoming. It wasn't such like a big empty room, like when we did it at the Waldo. It was very welcoming, home, kind of a homey type of event. Kate made sure everybody got a chance to speak and to be heard. She took a lot of notes. People wrote things on a map, put their favorite places, favorite areas to cross the street downtown. She made people talk about what they love about downtown Waldoboro. And we went over the plans for the Village Partnership Grant, which includes elevated crosswalks, speed tables. I thought it was a really interesting time because some residents were really excited about the changes and some were excited about the changes. But then when it came to the flashing sidewalk,
There was a lot of conversation.
a lot
about
of
the-
conversation about
side-
flashing lights. When you push a button for the crosswalk, there's flashing lights, and there was a lot of conversation about, oh no, flashing lights. We think people were mistaken that it was going to be flashing all the time. They only flash when you push the button. And that's just to make people slow down. A couple of issues were brought up about a sinkhole, which is a state responsibility downtown. And there were the concerns from Jefferson Street residents about the icy hill were also addressed. And again, those are state issues that very next day I reminded the state that they have. Speaking of state issues, good segue. We have been in contact again with the state and now with their legal department about the trailer that is parked at the Park and Ride. It is still there. So we have asked, we've given them, I personally have given them names. I thought it would be as simple as just having Gordon bring a dumpster from across the street and I could take the excavator down and crush it up myself. But that could not work because it has to be some type of a automobile salvage company that does it. So again, we gave them more local names. Hopefully they're exploring that. But I think I keep calling and I'm for those of you who do not know, I can be very annoying. So I've done my best. I don't know if select board, if you have any thoughts on how to maybe move it along.
I do.
I figured you might.
I could bring this up and make this as new business, but it'd actually be old business, but I can propose it now. I don't think you propose it to the select board. We know what we're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
it's been there for 3 or 4
65.
months.
It looks like the four of us could just go up and.
Yeah,
And
I make the motion that we set a formal letter from select board to the state DOT. They have till 1 November to get it moved.
Second.
Can we get a letter that quick to
yeah,
them?
I'll email it.
And I don't care where they put it, just get it off that lot. They put it, that DOT lot up at the,
I had suggested that.
they can call Powers Towing and put it on a flatbed and drag it up there and put it on their lot. So we got a first and second motions, first and second. Any more discussion?
I mean, November 1st is like,
Saturday,
okay,
yeah, they've had 4 months, 5 months.
I understand.
All in favor?
More than happy to do that. Thank you. It might mean more coming from you.
And they can come explain next select board meeting why it's not moved, if it's not
I
moved.
will include that.
Yeah. May not get anything done at state roads anymore, but.
We'll achieve something.
Jefferson Street,
Or
It
plowing
is-
this winter,
We
Anyway.
plow all their roads
except for 32.
except for
32
32.
north, yeah.
Yeah, 32
Route
north
one-
is
and
the
Route
only
one.
one, Route 1. Sometime, well, we have in the past when it hasn't been done.
Anything else?
I am done. Oh, no, I'm not. One more thing. Thursday and Friday, Depot Street will be closed to through traffic and local traffic only, as water and sewer is going to be being worked on for the main health building. And they have to excavate, so they're gonna have to close
So with that said, anyone the other side of Main Health will have to go all the way around. to
Correct.
Cross Street and come down.
to cross and come down.
Yeah.
Local traffic only.
school aware of that,
School, make sure the school
I,
knows.
yes.
thinking bus. route.
And EMS and fire,
Yes,
EMS.
we
and fire and all
weren't
that.
sure if it was gonna be Wednesday and Thursday or Thursday and Friday, but now we've been told it's Thursday, Friday. So yes,
And are they interrupting service?
not that I'm aware of, that was
I
not
mean, it
shared. with
matters
me.
in my life.
It matters.
That's what I'm asking, I need a
I will
time
find
frame.
out and that'll be included in the post that I put up tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. A lot of laundry at my house.
That it?
Now I really am done.
Okay, moving on, a motion to approve the consent calendar,
So moved.
discussion? All in favor? New business. Oh, we have no new business. Old business. Only thing we have on the old business is 11.2 Lady Slipper Lane update. I guess where we're at right now is from the last meeting, is we have to make a decision on where we're gonna what's the fine gonna be for the delays in the last discussion we had, the recommendation from the CEO is 8,000. I guess I'll start off with that motion. I'll make the motion $8,000 as recommended by the CEO.
Second,
Discussion on it?
Again. Mr. Best has,
No,
he's
hold
gotten
on,
the work,
hold on,
he's
hold on.
gotten the work done. He's gotten the work done. And if the work is done, that's the whole purpose of having financial penalties as a sort of a recourse for the board. If the work is done, this winds up being punishment. And I kind of think this is backwards because we don't want to punish our residents. We just want them to adhere to the building code. And that has taken place. Now, that said, the town has incurred a lot of expense with the code enforcement officer, and of course, the town manager as well. I guess everybody in town hall. And I can see the worth in some fine, but I think $8,000 is a little bit much.
Ruben, did you have something?
I guess my opinion's different. I'm willing to compromise at that lower number. Having watched this whole thing go through and watched the whole history of the park, I'm in favor of a higher number. That being said, we've been round and round and round on this, so at 8,000, I would consider that as a compromise. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, approach the board. I would like you to pass this and look at this before you vote on your motion.
All the different coffee, right?
Oh, you're one.
Yeah, they are. I thought it was 4 different pages.
This is from the town ordinances.
Be careful quoting town ordinances because a lot of stuff is not being done that was supposed to be done, so. We're more than happy to dig into it.
Probably have at one point.
If I remember correctly, only from day one, when we started imposing a fine, we started talking about fine. And you only got fined because it took so that long to get the work done.
Say again?
The fine got incurred because you took that long to get the work done, to get the cleanup done. We shouldn't have had to come this far as we did in the first place.
I'm not saying it didn't take a while, but I'm just telling you what the ordinance says. And I have done everything that the code enforcement officer asked.
But what did it take for you to get the work done? It starts to put money on the table.
Again, I'm just telling you what your ordinance says.
Yeah.
And I fulfilled all the requirements, but I will say this. The original letter said August 1st, and the heat just wiped me out. And I did go to some or all my tenants that had problems. And the code officer has been increasingly helpful in me getting cooperation from my tenants. That's, and we've got to the point where all those things were cleared up. That's where we're at, so.
But the fine that we're suggesting is not from the point that you had it cleaned up forward. It's from the point that you didn't have it cleaned up backwards. This isn't a new fine we're talking about. We're talking about a fine that we imposed many meetings ago, when things were not cleaned up and when you had not taken care of it.
We kept continuing this. And we kept coming back and he kept giving you information about how things were being cleaned up and how over 30 yards of stuff came out of there. And I did do it all and we were working. So,
And if you recall, originally, we wanted to, the original motion was to fine you $2,500 per day per violation. So $8,000 wouldn't have even covered one day of that.
I understand.
The
but
$8,000 is a compromise.
There's nothing to compromise. The ordinance says, that first sentence says you either have to do it or you don't.
That's not what that's your
I have
interpretation.
complied with all
Yeah, that's just,
the things on that list.
This is how
I
we
have
handled
complied
every
with-
other one. that
Yeah.
we've done.
Margaret?
Do I have to say who I am?
It would be good.
Okay. Margaret Collmore Campbell. So, Mr. Thayer, I understand where you're coming from. You have empathy about fines, et cetera. So, my lunch today was taking a look at what is the purpose of fines and why are there fines out and about? There are fines everywhere. Why are fines in existence? One of them is to punish offenders for breaking the law. Another one is to deter future noncompliance. So when we think about discouraging individuals, we're also thinking about discouraging others. So I can tell you that I suspect that the front page part in the Lincoln County News that talked about that there being fines for this park, I suspect that other people thought, wow, oops, yep. Fines typically are not assessed for initial offenses. They typically come because of some tiered type of recourse because things are not getting done. With that being said, I did a little history search here. So if I Googled a couple different things, I found that in March of 2017, a letter was sent to Mr. Best that said that tenants cannot live in travel trailers or campers. And that was from Mr.
Max Johnson.
Max Johnstone. So that's 2017. In 2022, there's a big board meeting planning board worth of minutes that tries to revamp what Stan Waltz had been doing for the last many, many years. So I have to go down because I wrote smaller. So he references 2 pages of history on an 8/22/2022 document. 2019 issues outlined. Lot 42 had an RV used as a resident. Lot 20 had an RV used as a resident. There was a debilitated trailer with bagged trash at the entrance used as a trash receptacle. Talking about it being a rodent issue, we can go on and on from there. In 2020, there's another planning board meeting still again, it's a reference in his 2022 document, talking about the buffer and how the trees have been cut and there's gravel in that buffer area. Now there's garbage in the that area. Talks about someone in the audience saying, Mr. Best, how many mobile homes do you, or how many people are living, or how many active homes do you have in this park? Your answer, Mr. Best, was 25 mobile home parks and 3 campers. Let's go back to 2017. He was told that tenants cannot live in travel trailers or campers. So then we've got 2019, we've got reference of people living in trailers. We've got, again, this particular piece, which was from 2020, that we still have people living in travel trailers. There's some interesting facts that Chief John Lash provided from park data from 2016 to 2019. If you're interested, I'll tell you what it is. And then there is more about in the select board was brought forward with Stan came to the select board in 2022 to talk about the continued code violations. So this is not a one-time I have to feel empathy because Mr. Best hasn't had time to clean things up. It's just been continuous. So that's my point. Thank you.
That said, any more discussion from the select board?
Again, this is from the town ordinances. It talks about enforcement. And it's talking about now, not from the day one I opened up the trailer park. And all the other violations in the past were addressed. Well, I could sit here and give you rebuttals to all of this. This is really not the issue tonight. Tonight is, since your code officer brought these violations, I've been over backwards to get them all done. I've planted trees in the area that weren't even on the original plan. And again, you have to, by law, follow this. You can't be going back and making stuff up. This first sentence is perfectly clear.
It is,
So
because you didn't, but you hadn't up until this point, you have not done what you're supposed to do. So that's why we assessed a fine.
I understand, but now I have, as this first sentence says, when it does not result in the correction or abatement. I
Right.
have,
Right, Fred, the above action, stuff prior to that, you weren't getting it done.
and again,
You weren't getting it done until we assessed a fine. And not, end of story.
This is how we, this is.
I understand that, and that's the way this is written.
No.
Is the town can impose fines if people don't do what's in the ordinances,
We can.
then you have to pay the fines.
Yeah.
But I have, at the last meeting, the code enforcement officer said I have done everything on that list.
But it doesn't negate the fine that was going, which is why we encouraged you to hire somebody to do it quicker so that you wouldn't encourage the fine.
Well, that wasn't very clear because
Oh, it's
every
very,
meeting-
it was
every
very, very
meeting, it
clear.
kept changing how much I was being fined. I couldn't figure this out.
All right, we got a motion on the floor right now for an $8,000 fine. It's been moved and seconded.
When we asked before, when we last met on this issue before, you said that you were just about ready to sign a purchase and sale agreement. Has that occurred?
That has not occurred.
Is it still on the table?
I am in negotiations,
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
okay? But I don't
All,
have a-
all in favor of that motion? Opposed? There's a fine, $8,000.
Can this be appealed to the appeals board,
Your appeal, I believe, is to Superior Court.
Superior Court.
Superior Court?
Yep. Moving on. Agenda items for the next meeting.
So are you good with having the Madama capacity study at the next meeting?
Yep.
And then on the 25th is when Waste Hub is coming. They apologize, they had a,
So the next meeting is the 10th of November.
10th of
Since we're not gonna be here for the
correct.
Veterans Day.
I don't know whether the select board is the right place to do it. Maybe the next meeting of the downtown forum might be a good idea. But Maine Water, when we had our meeting on Thursday, passed out a financial statement. And it wasn't one, I don't think Peg did it. I think
No, they
was-
do it.
It was their own.
Correct.
And I had some questions about it and I just. And we have two select boards that are on town water, Becky and Abden. And one of the questions I had was, money is being, is being charged to the water department account. That is, that was not charged in 2024, which I think it was listed as enterprise account. And I don't remember in our budget meetings last March ever talking about that. And that looked like something new. And then the other question that I had was,
So
and it was a lengthy discussion and I never really felt as though I got a satisfactory answer. The question that I had was, what happens to the fund balance on the water department account? Does that stay in a water department account or does that go into unassigned funds
So,
in the budget process?
so in our budget documents from the town side, there were charge-offs for time for town employees that spent on the water department.
I understand that for fire, police and all those other things, but
Right.
that did not happen in 2024, but it is happening in
Because they didn't,
2025.
because they did
actually.
not have the ability in their fund balance to cover that.
Okay, well, this is something new and I just thought it should have been.
Well, I mean, I think it was explained during the budget process.
Hmm.
Because there was, we didn't include it in the budget this year. So I believe at the one budget meeting, Peg did get into that a very tiny bit. Now, what was your second part of your question?
The second part was fund balance. What happens to the?
Fund balance stays in, if there is fund balance fund balance
Which there may not
stays,
be, and
which
the town
they're,
has to make it up if there's not.
well, the water department has to make it up. The town, so the town, it's a separate account. It's a totally separate fund. It doesn't affect the town.
I'd like
So
to
the
see how
town
that-
can't take, town can't take money out of their fund balance in support of the water department. Technically, they need to be self-balancing. It has to balance every year.
Well,
I have no problem. I thought that was part of, the way it was explained to me, because I apologize, I wasn't there. I had a doctor's meeting at the last water.
Was that Peg that
Yes,
explained that?
Peg,
we-
and they also had, at the last water meeting, there was Peg was there and
Kate,
no, well, Kate was there
Yeah.
too, but, his last name, I can't remember his first name, but Edelstein, who is their finance, officer.
yeah.
That individual was there. We can have them come to a select board meeting, but I would prefer if they met with the water department, with the water committee first and then came maybe in December.
Okay, I'd like to have a more thorough discussion of that. I guess we're gonna meet in the month, next month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
November 20th, it was my understanding, but the relationship between Maine Water and the town of Waldeboro, that was set up years and years and years ago. And the reason for sharing the cost of the employees was so that the town wasn't bearing costs that the user should be
Understood.
paying.
I understood.
Right.
I understand that, but I didn't. This was a new line item and it made the finances significantly worse.
Well, that line item has been there prior,
Okay,
in prior years. 24 was, this budget was the first time that, our budget is the first time that, it was not included in our budget.
In the town's budget.
In the town's budget. Where we charged off because
ju-
they had not paid in the prior 2 years, because they couldn't.
I left the meeting feeling very foggy about it.
Okay, not a problem. I can unfog you somewhat.
I would appreciate that. In more ways.
And I
than
know
one.
Peg left stuff in your box too.
Yeah, she did.
Good. To try
It
to
was
explain
about
some of
the,
it.
So-
was-
Yeah, and I apologize
it
for
was
not
about
being
debt
there.
service.
I apologize, but I had a dermatologist appointment, and do you know how hard it is to get a dermatologist appointment in Mid-Coast Maine?
So right now, the only thing we have for agenda is the Madomic capacity
Capacity
study.
study.
How about the EDC?
the
EDC
EDC
sign,
sign.
EDC sign update.
Mhm. And recreation. Because that's who you wanted
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
We can keep him to the end of the meeting.
hopefully. Hopefully we won't need the public works here.
If, like I said, if it doesn't get done, I'll have Public Works here.
Yeah. What's our plan if they're not done, so.
Well, yeah.
With that said, motion to adjourn to go into the assessors meeting,
So moved. Second.
all in favor? Board of Assessors meeting,
And did we get a packet for Board of Assessors or? I don't
Should've.
think I,
Oh, you didn't get-
maybe
oh.
it's still, was it still in my box?
It was.
Okay, thanks. It was here yesterday.
He said you didn't have much on your docket.
I'm gonna get it now.
Oh, I can.
I see.
You can fill it up for us.
I can- Yeah, I guess we can steal maybe a little bit of your time. There will be some additional abatements coming in that are still being prepared. The ones that-
as a result of the tax bill going out?
Yes, but these are ones that basically are errors and like to get them cleaned up, and then we can move on to the ones that you might deny and go on to the county commissioners with.
Oh, boy. Okay, I'm supposed
Sound
to be
yourself?
me, right? So let's call this meeting to order. You have a copy in here in your packet. I assume will be a consent calendar from our last meeting.
Well, it's signed and in the
August.
books.
Yeah.
so
12.
approve it.
If we can approve, can I get a motion? to
I'll make
approve?
a motion to approve the consent calendar, August 2025.
Here, I was your second.
Any corrections, adjustments, anything anyone wants to add to that? All those in favor?
Thank you. So there are 19 here. There's nothing, we're running down through them. Explain them or do them one at a time, whatever. Can give you any information you need. Karen Clark is the first one down on Dutch Neck. Her bill went up about $1,260, and in reviewing it, I had used the mean tide instead of the normal tide to come up with their frontage. And by using the normal, it's 4 feet difference, which is $14.80. But she would like everything she could get, so.
Is that how you do it all?
The survey, I just took the high water mark and didn't read the fine print, and they had both on there.
Oh,
They had the mud and then they had the mean. So it did make a difference at 1480.
wow.
She had questioned her acreage went from 5 acres to 6.62 using the new maps, but that's what the survey showed it to be. So we did answer that one.
So the new maps, I know there has been some questions. I'm sorry for jumping in.
No,
There's been some questions from people about,
yes. So pretty much double land values, trying to get back on track, and also had never used the digital maps that we've had since 2007. And just got a grant to update those from 07 to date. They are extremely more accurate than the 1960s ones we had, but there are issues out there. If you pull up the 2007, the house isn't on the right lot, or we'll talk about some of those. So they're, come on in. If you have a survey, many have brought in surveys that's precise. Generally, if it's within an acre, it's not gonna matter value wise, we go to the nearest thousand. So lots of times, because it went up a few tenths.
Yeah.
It is for tax purposes only. But trying to get up to date with maps.
Are you anticipating that items 1 through 19 are all could be handled in one motion?
If you wish.
Does anyone on the board object to that line of
Thinking,
movement here, that we listen to 1 through 19 and then make a motion that encompasses them all?
No problem here.
I have no problem.
Okay,
the second one is Marie Pierce. Again, hers went up $390, so came in, land values going up. She is down on the Gensner Road and does not have a full dry basement. It's crushed stone damp and only has insulation in the ceiling. So those two changes made a difference of $4,059.20 on that one. Any questions? Just
makes
Well-
sense, the house.
the next one is Kim Polino. Had a shed and a deck that is destroyed, basically has no value. The floor's gone, the deck's rotten. So that would be a $5,000 difference of $74. The next one was Adam Saunders came in, his went up $164, but they just like to review when there's a coverage that's gone, and I had a shed 10 by 12. He says it's 8 by 12, not 10, made a difference of $1,000. The next one is the biggest one. Shirley Benner owns 19 acres down on Friendship Road, which they've argued forever that it did not have access. The DOT would deny access. Last year, the land was valued at $77,000. They put up a building to put the sand in and used it, so that became an issue, and the DOT did issue an access. So I went from 77 to 178,000 on this piece of property. But the DOT is for the sand shed only. Denny uses that for sand. His father used it. And basically they said, well, we'll give you the rights to get in and out of your sand shed.
Oh,
but
so it's
we're
not for a house or anything?
It's
Yeah.
not for a
Yep.
house. And it is a real steep bank
Yep.
there that they argued. So I would recommend we reduce it from the 178 down to 100, so it would go from 77,000 up to 100 for this year. Next one, the deck is gone, 3,000. Michael Young had a shed up on 220 on Clayton Smith's land. He's left town, the shed's gone. He built lobster traps in it, I think. But anyways, that property is now up for sale, but there's 2 years worth of, didn't get anything out of Michael. The Trahans came in, went from 5 acres to 5.9 acres, but there was a surveyor on the abutting. Our aerial maps show the line going straight, and obviously by the survey, it follows the stone wall. And then when we had this line more straight, and there's a big rock there. So that is based on a survey, 5 acres, not 5.9, which is $1,000 difference. The big one that they came in, but they inherited Ronnie Nash and Donna Nash's up in North Waldeboro. It's always been assessed for 240 acres. The aerial maps say it's 317 acres, so it was a difference about 80 acres. Up to this point, it had not valued wetlands at 0. There's 100 acres of wetlands, so it really didn't factor in. But when I redid all the bill values for land, and the state assesses the town $200 for every acre of wetland, I used that as well. So all wetland is being priced. But anyways, they basically are surveying is the question as to who owns property up there, but it's so expensive, they're just gonna put it in tree growth. But in reviewing the card, there was a porch that was on a mobile home that her mom lived in until she passed away, and that porch is gone. So that's the 4,000 on a porch. The exact same area just north of what was Ronnie Nash, the Offs, Robert Orff, owns over in Jefferson. So I went to $1,000 an acre last year. It was a $20,000 value. This year it was 100,000, going to 100,000 an acre in wetland. But they have a survey of their land in Jefferson, which is kind of fascinating. It says when you get to the Waldeboro line, ownership to be determined, and it is all wet. So they basically cannot get to this property. The only one that can get to the properties out there is Daryl Flagg, apparently has access. So that's if we went from the 20 to 41,000 instead of 100, would be an $873. Nathan Northrup is another one that's in the same boat up there. He bought property and Daryl let him cut it off. But it was interesting in that they surveyed a line that came down here and stopped. And it was just a line saying, you're on one side, I'm on the other. So I could never get more information out of them. So I continued to tax Northrop for all this piece. Well, if I give Nate the land to the east and Daryl the land to the west, his 94 acres would go back to 84, and he does not have access as well. So that's the recommendation. He went from 10,000 to 58,000. He would go to 27,000 as land out in the wilderness with limited access. Daniel Riley has property up on the Noise Road and has 3 different lots, his house and 2 others, and it should have been 1. So that was the difference of 15,000. The next 2 are 2 mobile homes in, I'll call it DePatsy. I know I shouldn't say that, but
Sounds good to me.
um,
Across from Sylvania.
they're 1968 and 1973, and the park owner is just gonna demolish them. One's already gone, the other one I'm sure will go, because they're supposedly gonna bring in new trailers, so the one that's gone, we had just 1 year on, and then the one that needs to go and will was 4 years town owned in 1973 Burlington that has no value. So that's what that is. And then the last one was over to the condos. A lady got a permit and put her son in the basement. And so I added for an apartment and full finish. It is not an apartment because of access and whatnot, but her son has a place in the basement and it's not full. There's still 80 square feet of utility. It's the 8 by 12 section is not finished off. So that's what that one's about. That's all I got for you.
But it got people in.
It did. I've had a lot of, the days are flying by. Trying to research needs and, but I love the mapping. Here are a sample of the new maps and I mean, they're pretty fascinating. I should have done it years ago.
I said for someone that would probably fought tooth and nail not to do it.
I have.
All
You
right,
okay?
I needed a motion on all these requests.
I'll make a motion to approve the request as presented.
I'll second.
Any additional discussion? I just have one question.
Yes.
Um. Number 3. Does that deck that's just run down, does it have potential hazard? If you know what I'm trying to say, like shit, does that need to be addressed further that we have a deck that is not taxable because it's in such poor condition and yet it's still present?
I can.
I'm not trying to create
Nope,
work for
nope,
Mark.
but I
I'm
understand.
Refer to code.
Refer to
just saying-
code. We can refer it to code.
No, it
Just
is good.
asking,
He's like the other
like-
one said, this winter it fell off on the snow, and we gotta get rid of it. And so yes, if they would get rid of them sooner than better.
Yeah,
And nobody's
just-
gonna get hurt.
I just don't want anybody to get hurt.
Makes
As
sense.
we know about it.
And since you've told me about it,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm keenly aware now. Okay, that was my only question. All those in favor?
You can adjourn, if you so wish.
All right, get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
I do